generally speaking, it's rare that an agent costs a guy a whole bunch of money. Now, they can cost them money by malpractice, by missing a deadline for some kind of bonus or something like that, or letting bad language get into a contract because they're not paying attention, and it costs the guy a bonus or something down the road. So they'll make those kind of mistakes, but in most cases, your career is what you make of it.
All right, let me ask you one sports question before we go. By the way, Jerome Solomon joining us, courtesy of the AP Law Group. Nerlens Noel claims that Rich Paul ruined his career, ignored calls from other camps during free agency. Rich Paul, obviously friend of LeBron James, super agent with James and Ben Simmons and others on his roster of clients. My question for you, how much blame do agents really deserve to get in situations like this where a player will say, well, look, I never got my big contract, but it was partially your fault? Because he's suing Rich Paul for like $50 million because he claims that Rich Paul told him, look, just take a 1-year deal and we'll try to get you something bigger next time. And that ended up costing him a lot of money. How much blame do agents really deserve in that versus athletes when it comes to like failed contracts and pursuits?
Well, I haven't seen the specific story. I've been tied up. But generally speaking, it's rare that an agent costs a guy a whole bunch of money. Now, they can cost them money by malpractice, by missing a deadline for some kind of bonus or something like that, or letting bad language get into a contract because they're not paying attention, and it costs the guy a bonus or something down the road. So they'll make those kind of mistakes. But in most cases, your career is what you make of it. And especially in the NBA, the money is there for you to make it. Is he saying he made him sign a 1-year deal instead of whatever long term it was, and then after the 1 year he got hurt or wasn't offered the big one the next time either?
So
well,
he said
can't
basically
get what you don't
he took
get.
the advice of Paul to sign a 1-year qualifying deal to then be able to hit free agency for more money, but that didn't happen. He got hurt, missed half a season, and then ended up taking a bunch of lower paying gigs until this recent offseason when he got his deal with New York.
That's that two things. One, the agent probably didn't give him that advice, not like that. He probably said, hey, if you only take this 1-year deal, you come up free agent again next year, you're going to get a lot more money than this one that's on the table. But if you take this one now, it's guaranteed, what you want to do. And he's like, I'm going to bet on myself. And it's funny, when we hear players say they'll bet on themselves, do people then start saying the agent is giving him bad advice, or are we applauding the player for quote unquote betting on himself?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this shapes up in the courts, because I think this is going to, it could create some weirdness, or I guess that's probably not the best word to use, but it could change kind of that relationship and disclosures and everything else. He also said the fact that people would call and Rich Paul wouldn't return calls. Like the Rockets, I think, reached out about Nerlens Noel and he just never bothered to get back to him. Again, how much blame is that versus, knowing, look, they're just hunting for assets, and that's probably not the best thing for my client anyways. I don't know. I find it fascinating. I mean, you've dealt with agents and the dynamic of it.
I mean, like, how does he, but I wonder what kind of proof does he have that, people reached out and his agent didn't take care of business in that sense. And with the, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying is it's going to be hard for him to prove that there was malpractice that cost him a lot of money, Yeah. It's like, no, you're not being a good player costs you a lot of money. Yeah. You're not being great is what costs you the most money.
Yeah.
Because if you were a great player, you would have gotten the money, especially in the NBA where the money is laid out there for you. It's not a total wide open free agency with it's where
unlimited, like baseball,
it can go unlimited. No, it's people are slotted into what they can make, and he just never got slotted into the top slot for whatever reason. But it wasn't because of his agent, Now, if the guy didn't take phone calls or didn't return them, or didn't inform his client that people call offering something, that's a different story. I find that hard to believe because that's just not how um, agents work.
Well, that's what
These
he claimed
guys,
as part of it was that he
because
learned the Rockets reached out.
the agent's trying to get money. You know,
See, that's the thing that I understand. I always thought agents aren't going to deny you making the maximum amount you could make because it only
no,
bolsters what they're going to make. But I think part of his
yeah,
complaint was he said, yeah, the Rockets and Clippers reached out, but they never really had discussions because he never returned their calls. But at the same time, he also accused him of favoring the more popular clients. So I don't know. I find the dynamic interesting. I've never really had an agent per se, or I'm sure you have maybe for writing and stuff like that. Do you deal with an agent at all?
no, no, I don't. No, I
Okay.
don't.
Good for you. That's a lot of guys do, even in radio. And I'm like, wow, that's never
I,
made sense to me, but whatever.
Daddy's making a YouTube video!